Family, we got to get a lot better about spotting empty gestures. Simone Biles and Denzel Washington and a number of others were supposed to get a Presidential Medal of Freedom from Biden, which is like having someone's racist grandfather give you a blue ribbon at the county fair. Well, Denzel claimed that he couldn't attend because he came down with a case of COVID. So Biden had to give the medal to Simone Biles, who, of course, was only too glad to get one. Getting a medal from Biden is like getting a gold star in third grade. It doesn't mean anything, at least not for the person getting it. Years ago, I heard an expression from an Army vet. He said that in the military, there's an old saying, they give you a medal because they don't want to give you a raise. And the same goes here. Now, obviously, this is all part of Biden's get out the vote effort, as pathetic as it is transparent. It's the same reason that he made Kamala his vice president, why he appointed Ketanji Brown to the Supreme Court. This is meant to get black women's attention and hopefully garner some sort of support because God knows racist Grandpa Biden needs it. He needs to prove that there's some black folks outside of the congressional black talkers who can actually stand to be in his presence without vomiting. But they're prepared to die on the hill of not doing anything for black people. Words, gestures, a holiday. As Dr. King said, it costs nothing for white society to integrate lunch counters in movie theaters. But now that black folks are demanding tangibles, all of a sudden we ain't doing that, and here's a medal. That's good enough, isn't it? Well, at least for a few of them. Find some high-profile Negroes and give them a couple of meaningless hunks of metal. And then they can come to the black community and say, Joe Biden's done so much for us. It costs nothing to give Simone Biles a medal. It costs nothing to make Ketanji Brown a Supreme Court justice. And it changes nothing. So don't go getting easily impressed. This is just about giving the ski-wee contingent something that they can point to when it comes time for election hour, and they can go on Madame Noir or Dipstick Alley or some other online hood rat toilet and try to claim that Biden's doing big things for black women when he's done absolutely nothing at all. The ski-wee contingent will slither out from whatever trash can they've been hiding under. Angela Rye, with lit tomatoes on the side, and other feminists will be claiming that this is respect. This is showing respect for black women. Joe Biden's showing so much respect. It was originated by the sorority. They'll be dragging out every dog whistle word they can, every slogan, pressing every button just to see what works, throwing anything against the wall and seeing if anything sticks. Respect will be the main word that you'll be hearing a lot. Biden giving Simone Biles a medal is giving black women as a group respect. It's not doing anything for black women as a group. The only one who gets anything is Simone Biles, and she ain't getting much. But it's respect. See, that's respect. Respect isn't anything tangible. It's not anything you can hold in your hands. It's certainly nothing that's going to be protecting you or defending you or making your life better. Respect is a gesture. That's a gesture. Like these bootlicking Negroes who try to claim that merely voting is a tangible benefit. No, voting is supposed to be a means to an end. It's the end itself that's a tangible benefit. Voting is not something I can put in my bank account. A White House ceremony is not giving black women anything that they can put in their pockets. It's not giving them anything that will protect them or their children. So how respectful is that? When you start hearing the R word getting kicked around, respect, respect. Oh, they'll be quoting Aretha Franklin day and night. Yeah, that's right. Respect, respect me. Just look and ask whether or not they're doing anything for you real. Or is it just a meaningless gesture they can do for free? Because what I want to know is if Joe Biden really respects black women so much, what the hell is he doing or has he done for a Tatiana Jefferson? Because on a side note, I had told you before about how the murderer of a Tatiana Jefferson, the former thug with a badge, Aaron Dean, he and his defense team have been kicking the can down the road, filing for delay after delay after delay. They've been doing everything they can to try to make it where this will never, ever come to trial. The judge on the case twice had told them there would be no more delays. There would be no more continuances granted. They were going to trial. He'd done this twice already. And then the defense team said, well, our witnesses still aren't ready after 8 months. And we already need to go on vacation. We feel like we need to go on vacation now. And we'll be going. They've obviously been doing all of this mess to try to stall. And the judge said enough. So as I told you, they had filed a motion to have the judge recused from the case. They wanted him off the case. Because what he was doing was he was demanding that it actually go to trial. And what happened was you had a court in Fort Worth that said, yeah, this judge needs to be removed from this case. For a judge to recuse themselves from a case is very rare. And for a judge to be forcibly removed from a case is even more rare, especially in Texas, where they don't question the judges because the judge is usually corrupt and on the take. Now, the judge who decided to authorize removing the trial judge off of this case, a woman named Lee Gabriel, she gave absolutely no explanation for why. She did not give an explanation for her reasoning. She just said that she considered the motion, the evidence, and the arguments presented. This is a classic case of I'm white and I say so. That's what the thugs with badges are doing. See, the thing is, I told you years ago how once the vice gets tightened on the thugs with badges, when they realize, oh, you're not going to be able to depend on these grand juries to throw the case for you, to bury any sort of indictment, and you're not going to be able to depend on a trial jury to not convict you, only thing they're going to have, their last resort would be a bench trial with the judge. You've had a number of cases recently in the last month alone in Louisiana and other states where the police have decided, well, I'm not going to be tried by a jury. I'll be tried by a judge. That's a clear conflict of interest right there. That should never be allowed. Police and judges work together every day, all the time. Nobody who's in law enforcement should be allowed to be having a bench trial. Besides, the Constitution does not say you have a right to a bench trial. It says you have a right to a trial by a jury of your peers. But if I was a betting man, I would say that's what this thug, Aaron Dean, is attempting to do. This is basically shopping for a judge by the side door. The judge that they got obviously was not going to let them slither their way out of this one. They would actually have to go to court. So they're looking for a judge now who's going to be just shamelessly, blatantly biased and prejudiced. And that's what they're looking for. And you got the good old boys putting their empty inbred heads together for exactly that. And where is Joe Biden while all this is going on? Tatiana Jefferson was killed years ago. And the Biden administration, AWOL. Same thing for Breonna Taylor. What is Joe Biden doing for Breonna Taylor? Her murderers are still walking the streets. And Biden's DOJ is out of sight and out of mind. What is Biden doing for any of the black women who have been murdered by the police or mysteriously turned up dead under what are clearly questionable circumstances? The infant mortality rate is highest among black women in the United States. What is Biden doing to hold doctors and hospitals accountable for what is clearly medical apartheid? You even got to ask about that. You ain't got to have a medical degree to see that if you got all these black women coming in and their babies are dying, obviously it's the hospital. So what's Biden doing? Nothing. Though he is leading the charge to make sure that all of those Planned Parenthoods remain open, because that's what black women really need. They don't need post-pregnancy health care. We don't worry about that at all. What they need is to have ready, instantaneous, on-demand access to abortions. That's what black women really need. See, the white supremacists aren't worried at all that the end of Roe v. Wade will mean more black children because, as we see with the deliberately inferior health care that black mothers get, the plan is and has always been to make sure that black children don't live long outside the womb. See, that's what all these right-wing nuts who you see on TV standing outside of abortion clinics have known all along. They want to sanitize their anti-black racism by claiming why we actually care about black babies. We're out here to represent them, and why, if abortion was ended, that would naturally result in more black babies being born. All the while, these same right-wingers are giving a wink and a nod to all the racists with medical degrees and all these racist nurses who will be making sure to kill those black children in the hospitals. As Neely Fuller said, white supremacy believes in taking both sides of the argument. Well, black empowerment only believes in one side of the argument, the right side. The two-pronged strategy of using phony, empty gestures by white Democrats and having the black Democrats tell us why their party can't do anything for us, all the while these black Democrats and their children are getting taken care of by the DNC and their white corporate sponsors. That day is coming to a close. Kamala has failed to get any traction. Black people are not champing at the bit to vote for her in 2024 or any other year. We're acting like a constituency that has been ignored and isn't with the nonsense. And if you expect us to turn out to vote, then you got to pony up some tangibles. And a medal for an Olympic gymnast over here and a Hollywood actor over there ain't cutting it. You have to go ham on anti-black racists. Just saying you sympathize, that ain't good enough. That's an insult, and we all know it. I told you about on Twitter how Arizona just passed a law making it a crime to video the police within 8 feet of them. What? It's the Derek Chauvin
That's
protection.
Crazy.
It's performative extremism. It's blatantly unconstitutional, though with the current
That's
composition
why
of the
everybody
Supreme
should
Court,
get a
the
drone.
Constitution is going to be undergoing a revision, no
That's
doubt.
bullshit.
But this is the difference between
That's
what
bullshit.
the Republicans do to get out the vote on their side and what the Democrats don't do. The Republicans get out the vote efforts based around passing laws, extremist, illegal, racist garbage, but it galvanizes their base and bases
if they're closer than 8 feet.
Because it shows what kind of nonsense they're on. And what are the Democrats
use your
doing?
zoom lens. You can get closer than 8 feet.
Laws that are meant to say if you decide to do some extremist, we're going to go after the churches. We're going to get refusing to pass anything substantive. And his excuse, he says he won't even try because he doesn't feel that he should sign any executive order if it could simply be reversed by the next Republican president. Now, keep in mind, executive orders are not laws. They're merely an order passed by the president. Every executive order can be reversed by the next president or even the current president. So what is Biden really saying? What he's saying is he won't even try to sign an executive order unless it's something that he thinks the Republicans will approve of. Well, hell, in that case, you might as well go ahead and vote for a Republican president. And if it's anything that he thinks Republicans won't approve of, then he won't even try. Now, you never see Republicans ever doing that. And I'm sure that some half-wits will say, well, brother, he did sign an executive order about the police, and he did it on the anniversary of George Floyd's death. So that proves he tried. Listen up, stupid. As I told you, at the same time he was signing that sham executive order, Biden had his own inspector general at the Supreme Court petitioning the Supreme Court to strike down the Miranda warning. Biden did that. He sided with the police and against the citizens. And as I told you, that case that Biden felt the irresistible need to have to chime in on, it was about a black man whose rights had been violated by a white Latino officer in California. So Biden didn't just choose that case in particular for nothing. He chose it precisely because of who was involved. It was meant to send a message, not just to the racist right, but also to the police. And of course, the white media gave practically no mention at all to the fact that the man whose Miranda rights had not been read to him happened to be black. They didn't mention that at all, practically. They were trying to hide it. So everybody else knew what the deal was except for the very people who need to know it the most. So it's not just the Republicans trying to turbocharge the police state. The Democrats are helping them do it. The Democrats' job is to pay flat lip service to wanting police reform that's supposed to con you into thinking that they're different than the Republicans, when the truth is the Democrats are controlled opposition who sit on their hands and let the party of the white establishment do whatever they want. The Democrats are controlled opposition, and we are the opposition they're trying to control. Am I opposed to Simone Biles getting a medal? No, I don't care. What I oppose is that with all the things we need, we don't have the luxury of indulging in any empty ceremonies or making a new holiday. We don't care about gestures. We're way past that. Elections are a business transaction. It's about what's in it for us. And Biden is continuing to show exactly what he's offering. Nothing. Well, at least he's being consistent. Good evening, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Kawi Harvard, Emily, James Wright, Eve, and Anthony Cooper. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.